Prime Minister Julia Gillard must be breathing a sigh of relief after Labor's win over the Greens in the Melbourne by-election on the weekend. The result has eased the pressure over the Prime Minister's leadership, at least for now. Heather Hewitt reports.
It was a seat Labor feared it was going to lose for the first time in more than a century.
We were written off in this. Many people wrote us off. But what this campaign, this Melbourne campaign shows is if you chase the last vote harder than your political opponent, then you win. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly the approach that a strong Prime Minister, that is Julia Gillard, a strong Prime Minister will employ over the next 12 months.
This was a by-election that throughout the long campaign, all sides claimed publicly was about state issues. But there was more riding on it than that. And in the aftermath, today they were all stamping their own federal interpretations.
I note that the Prime Minister's critics, the government's critics, said that this was replete with federal factors. Well, if it was replete with federal factors, then the Prime Minister has done very well.
We've got a record high vote, and for the first time ever, more people voted for the Greens than any other party.
Out there on the hustings, there was a lot of federal talk. So this electorate was interested in federal issues, not just state.
These are strange political times when the Sex Party comes in third out of a field of 16 in what was supposed to be a battle between Labor and the Greens. But the Liberal Party's decision not to stand a candidate changed the dynamics and preference flows, and it was preferences that got Labor across the line. The Greens are smarting at the result.
In my election in 2010, we put the Labor Party above the Liberal Party, whereas in this election, the Labor Party said, well, we would rather our preferences go to family first instead of the Greens. And that is a very significant message to be sending to voters.
The notion that the Greens are an extension of our party, the notion that the Greens make us a better party, is complete nonsense, and we have to challenge it each and every day.
It was Labor's decision to draw a clear line of differentiation between Labor and the Greens that key strategists now think helped win the day. But there's by no means agreement on whether the New South Wales right wing's recent all-out attack on the Greens should be applied in every seat.
My style is not to be hurling abuse. My style is to win the argument, and I think we've begun the process of doing that.
If it shows anything, it shows that those attacks on the people who vote Greens because of our progressive values don't work.
The Greens' primary vote did rise, but a win is a win, especially when Labor thought the prize was out of reach. Though the state politicians won't say so publicly, federal factors did play a part, like the carbon tax and leadership speculation in the final week. For Julia Gillard, a loss would have meant more ammunition for Kevin Rudd supporters, and her state colleagues knew it.
There's almost an industry of people right across this country who see every issue, from today's weather to next Saturday night's Tats Lotto results, through the prism of Julia Gillard's leadership. I just don't think that's right.
Yet they wouldn't let her near the place to campaign amid internal polling that her government was on the nose here. As for the Greens and any federal ramifications, they now have to be a bit worried about prospects for Adam BANDT in his federal seat of Melbourne at the next election.
If we see similar swings repeated at the federal election, then we're in a position to make history again by winning a seat without having to rely on preferences to get over the line.
But it was Liberal preferences that gave the Greens the seat last time, and they can't count on that again.
Heather Hewitt there.